at the crossroads between Europe and Asia, the birthplace of the Greek goddess of love and home to many of modern day's most alluring holiday attractions. You guessed it, we're in Cyprus.
Cyprus is renowned for its beaches during the summer season, with cities and towns found all along its coast. As Cyprus is an island, the most common way to get there is by flying, and its main airport is situated on the southern coast, just outside the city of Larnaca.
We're actually gonna use Larnaca as our base because it fits perfectly with everything we're gonna show you.
Upon arriving in the airport, the easiest and cheapest method to get to the city center is by bus. Bus number 425 takes you to the central station just beside Kyykos, the main promenade of Larnaca. To find the stop at the airport, simply go upstairs in the terminal, cross the bridge, and the stop is on your left-hand side. Buses here cost €2.50 per journey, and the 425 runs late until close to midnight. If you're planning to get off somewhere other than the central station, be sure to keep an eye out. The drivers here tend to stop only when you tell them to, with stops few and far between. I guess you could trick yourself into thinking it's almost like a very public taxi. When you're on the airport bus, you'll pass the Salt Lake. If you're here in winter, make sure you visit to see the flocks of flamingos that come here in search of a feast of brine shrimp.
Larnaca is the third largest city in Cyprus and possibly the oldest, with evidence showing settlement starting around 6,000 years ago.
Walking through the small streets of the center, you will find a mixture of old and new buildings. These streets are great to get lost in, with the older buildings providing great photos if you find the right spot.
Keep an eye out for different types of trees when you're going around. You can find lots of fruits growing naturally here. And at times, if you're stealthy enough, you can go home with limes, oranges, pomegranates, and more.
Close by to the St. Lazarus Church is a super discount store. You should definitely pop in here because it's fairly cheap for the shelf products.
The downside is there is no fridge or freezer section here. Supermarkets are few and far between in Larnaca, so you may have to walk some distance to get to them.
The two main and most central ones are Micro and Metro. Cyprus isn't all just seaside towns and golden shorelines. In the middle of the island is the Troodos mountain range. If you fancy some fresh air and some spectacular scenery, look no further. The mountains are the perfect place to enjoy a leisurely walk, and there are many trails offering different levels for all types of hikers. One of the highest trails is called Artemis, which is a 7-kilometer circular road around the mountain's highest peak, Mount Olympus. There is little height gain on this trail, and green markers are set out all along, which makes it suitable for everyone.
The starting point of this trail is 300 meters from the junction between Troodos Square and Prodromos Road that heads toward Mount Olympus.
Pretty little villages line the entire range of the mountains. These villages ooze hospitality and host some of the most historic architecture on the island. They are a must-see no matter the season.
Omodos is one village that is famous for its traditional Cypriot wine. The main square is riddled with cafes, so it's also a perfect stop for some lunch.
The medieval Linos can be found here. It is one of the oldest wine presses in Cyprus. And the great thing is that they often let you try a lot of the wines for free. And after, you'll feel like you can make them all by yourself.
If you can't find the winery in the village's narrow alleyways, you can pop into any cafe for a warm greeting and a nod in the right direction. Another area to explore in the mountains are monasteries. Monasteries were built high up on the Troodos mountains in an area of nature and solitude, giving peacefulness for prayer and meditation.
The Kyykos Monastery is one of the most well-known monasteries in Cyprus and is free to enter. In the 11th century, Byzantine Emperor Alexius Komnenos built the monastery to the residents of the island. The reason it is so popular is the icon of Virgin Mary he also gifted along with it. The icon is said to be one of the 3 oldest icons of her in the entire world and was made while she was still alive. The view from the monastery looks onto forests scattered upon mountain valleys stretching into the distance. It lies 20 km west of the village of Pidoulas and is easy to find as it's located on the road for Paphos. Believe it or not, there is even a ski resort in the mountains. Of course, the slopes are only open when there is snow, and that generally means they open from late December to early March. The resort is a small one and consists of 4 runs in total. During the season, the lifts open from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. and are 3 tall lifts and 1 chairlift. Equipment can be hired from the ski shop in the resort, so don't worry about bringing your ski gear to a beach holiday. Overall, adult passes with equipment would cost 30 euros, but there is also an afternoon pass available if you fancy sunbathing in the morning instead.
Despite first appearances, Cyprus is a country of exceptional history. Up until 1960, Cyprus was a colony of Britain, until it was granted a shared independence between Turkish and Greek Cypriots. Since then, Cyprus's history was dominated by conflict and hostility.
In 1974, after an attempted shift of power aided by Greece, Turkish troops invaded the island and began seizing lands. Many Greek Cypriots were forced from their homes on the northern side of the island. After the capture of almost 40% of the island, Turkey declared the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus as an independent nation, one that was rejected by the United Nations and only recognized by Turkey itself. Following this, a demilitarized zone is now maintained by the UN and stretches almost 180 kilometers across the island. Nicosia, the capital of Cyprus, now is the only remaining divided capital city in the entire world. The zone is restricted to public access, but you can still follow parts of it in Nicosia, discovering some hidden relics from the past along the way. Abandoned cars, houses, cafes, and even an airport is between the north and south of the island. Nicosia Airport was closed during the conflict as it couldn't be shared by both parties. This was in fact the reason Larnaca Airport became the main airport for Greek Cypriots. Up until 2003, crossing the border was heavily restricted, but nowadays you can go across as if going to Turkey. Just make sure you bring your passport along with you, or you might get stuck in no man's land.
If you get a chance though, you should definitely visit the northern side of Cyprus. While there, you will notice a huge difference in culture. Just to give you an example, to get to northern Cyprus by plane, you can only arrive by first coming through Turkey.
Northern Cyprus's treasure chest is Kyrenia, a rare and ideal place for a relaxing day out. Nicknamed the Jewel of Cyprus, this town has one of the most beautiful ports that has a likeness to the atmosphere of Italy. In the past, the port would be impossibly busy during the day with trader merchants, but nowadays it is ideal for sitting back and simply watching the world go by. The port is overshadowed by Ayia Castle, which hosts a museum with one of the oldest ships salvaged from the sea inside. The museum itself only costs 12 lira to enter and works out at about £3. It is also a great point to see the aerial view of the port. The great thing about northern Cyprus is that many places accept most major currencies. with euros, pounds, and dollars all found to be accepted. Kyrenia is the second largest city in northern Cyprus and is surrounded by mountains. Atop one of the mountain peaks is Hilarion Castle, which provides incredible views overlooking the town. Used as a stronghold between Nicosia and Kyrenia in the past, the castle has largely been dismantled. It is said that both Walt Disney and King Ludwig used the castle as inspiration, and you can see why, as the castle looks like something out of a film. There are three noticeable parts to it. The lower used to host the armory and stables. The middle was designated to the church, and the upper was reserved for only those of royal blood. If you're a bit of a history geek, definitely go here as it is rich with history. Legend talks of treasures being hidden behind the door of room 101 in the castle. Apparently, a secret garden lay beyond the door. However, room 101 has and never was actually found in the castle. From Kyrenia, take the motorway towards Nicosia. There will be a turn-off sign posted to the road leading to the castle. Traveling around Cyprus is fairly easy with a couple of options available. Each city can be reached by bus. Intercity buses go between all major cities apart from in northern Cyprus. However, to reach Paphos from Larnaca, you will have to first stop off in Limassol. Each bus journey costs 4 euros, no matter which route you take. They have both summer and winter timetables, so it's best to check their website, intercitybuses.com, to get the correct times. Another great website to check out is cyprusbybus.com. This site is incredibly useful to find buses to go within cities. It compiles all the information on the island and even allows you to create your own journey planner. The other option is by car. Cars in Cyprus are around 15 euros per day to hire. Be careful when you hire though, as some companies don't allow you to go north of the border. Alternatively, hitchhiking in Cyprus is a great, cost-efficient way of getting around. Drivers seem fairly happy about picking up friendly-looking people. You might even get invited for some homemade souvlaki by the end of the journey. Souvlaki is one of the traditional dishes in Cyprus. Similarities can be found in Cypriot food with Greece and other countries around it. Souvlaki is like a shish kebab and is made by cooking large skewers of meat on a grill. Legend has it that soldiers of the island used to use their swords in place of the skewers. The main difference between shish kebab is that no vegetables are cooked on the skewers. There are a few good places in Larnaca to try souvlaki. We'd recommend Souvlaki GR, which is in the center. This place will do a very cheap mixed meat platter consisting of about 5 pieces of souvlaki. Halloumi is another type of traditional food and one you should definitely try. It is known as the cheese that doesn't melt, and for good reason. Halloumi is unique in having a high melting point and can easily be fried or grilled without losing its shape. It is made with a combination of sheep and goat's milk and is considered the national cheese of Cyprus. Fresh fish is all around the ports of Cyprus, with the ocean being in such close proximity. Restaurants can be found by every coast selling catches from the day's fishermen. Many restaurants offer fish mezes. These mezes are like tapas and allow you to try different types of seafood coming in lots of small portions. A great bar to visit in Larnaca is the Tudor Inn. The place is like a small cottage and has a warm, homely atmosphere. They have a beer garden to sit out in when it's warm, and often at night have live jazz playing. The Art Cafe is another option to grab a drink. They have a vast menu of imported beers. Upstairs there is also a restaurant if you're hungry. The place is owned by local artists. Lining the walls are works of art and memorabilia, which makes for an interesting viewing experience. Ayia Napa is one of Europe's most popular clubbing destinations.
A great website to check out is loveayanapa.com. There, under the Events tab, you'll find a list of excursions and parties for the entire year.
Other than the party scene, Ayia Napa is also famous for its beaches of golden sand and crystal clear water. Hidden away just outside of Ayia Napa, Konnos Bay is a picturesque beach that is the most popular among locals. The beach joins with the rugged land where Ayia Napa's sea caves start, giving quite a view from the beach. These caves are part of Cava Greko, a place perfect for photography enthusiasts to capture the beauty of the Mediterranean Ocean. The caves are located on the right-hand side of Cava Greko's peninsula, and you can sometimes get to sea level when the tide is out.
Legend has it that pirates used to store their treasure in these caves.
The peninsula is lined with steep cliffs along both sides, making it a perfect hiding spot from passing ships. It also hides furrier things. When you stand at the very edge point of these cliffs, you'll be about as close as you'll get to the edge of Europe. The cliffs are great fun to explore with passageways hidden all around them. Often, they are used by climbers for practice with bouldering and rock climbing. Just be careful not to slip when exploring, as in some parts it's a long way down.
In the summertime, people use these cliffs for cliff jumping. The peninsula is surrounded by the clearest blue water that locals call the Blue Lagoon.
These amazing waters are the best location for scuba diving, so you should definitely try to spot some fish. You might just end up getting lucky as well and spot an octopus, as local fishermen swear they see them regularly in this area. To get to Cava Greko, take the 101 bus from the Ayia Napa Square. We hope you enjoy your stay in Cyprus. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel below for all the tips and tricks of many more hidden cities that we will explore.